Hello everyone! As we move into the special occasion speeches, I wanted to talk to you all about humor in public speaking. Humor in public speaking can be a really useful tool, but it can also lead to the proverbial downfall of you as a speaker. You have to know how to use humor well in public speeches. Now, we've been through the informative speeches, we've been through the persuasive speeches, we started out with introduction speeches, and some of you used just a touch of kind of spontaneous humor throughout those. But I really feel like you need to be aware of some more humor conventions before we move into special occasion speeches, because it's really going to be used quite heavily there in some cases. So, why don't we get started? Basically, what I'm going to talk to you guys about is not necessarily anything that you'll find in textbooks or anything that you'll find in our readings. You'll find some of it. But really what I want to talk to you about is my own personal knowledge about humor in public speaking. I was a national quarter finalist in after dinner speaking. I have a little bit of understanding about humor. So lots of what I'm going to tell you is kind of a conglomeration of my own personal experiences with humor, as well as things that I've learned and read throughout my time as a practicing public speaker and as a student of public speaking. So, I like to conceptualize the goals of humor in terms of 4 R's. The first is relax. Humor is meant to make you relax. It's meant to make you feel good. Now the point is twofold here. It relaxes your audience, and it relaxes you. It relaxes your audience in that it creates kind of a fun atmosphere for you to keep speaking in. But it should also relax you. It's fun when people laugh with you. It makes you feel really good. There's nothing better than having a room full of people laughing with you. So, humor can really make the whole public speaking setting relax. Next, relate. Humor is relatable. We all like to laugh, and we all have these funny stories and little jokes that we like to tell here and there. So humor is all about being able to relate to your audience more and help your audience relate to your topic. Next, remember. Humor is wonderful to help people remember your point. I've watched persuasion finals at the national level, and I've watched after dinner speaking finals, which is, of course, humor with a persuasive point. I've watched those at the national finals too. Every single speech that I remember and that I cite as one of the most amazing speeches that I've ever seen, every single one of them is an after dinner speech. Humor helps you to remember. You don't just remember the jokes though, you remember the overall point of that speech. And reinforce. Humor should not just be completely random. Humor should have a point, and it should be what we call topical. It should relate to the general topic that is being discussed. So, relax, relate, remember, and reinforce. Now, with that being said, I want to give you guys some guidelines for public speaking humor. Again, these guidelines are things that I've gathered from my time as a student and as a practicing public speaker. So keep that in mind. This is just kind of my musings on humor and things that I'd like to see you guys try to keep in mind as we move into special occasion speeches. Start from the personal. Life in general is a rich source for humorous stories. We all have those stories where, even if we didn't think about it as funny in the moment, we look back and laugh at it now. Humor starts personally, okay? Now, a key part of that is that you know these stories better than anyone. Because you know these stories and because you know these nuances, you know what the potential is for that humor. You also will know how to tell this humorous story, tell this joke, really, to the best of your abilities. Now, one of the key things that this really does is that it humanizes you. Telling a personal story reminds your audience that you are not just a face up there telling some impersonal information. Rather, you are a human being. You have human experiences, and some of those are hilarious. So, start from the personal because it humanizes you to your audience. Next, and Maybe in many ways, one of the most important points I can make is do not forget your audience. I can't emphasize that enough. Do not forget your audience in all of this. Okay? Remember that you are not just up there telling the joke for you. You're telling the joke for your audience to get them to remember something, to reinforce your point. Your joke is for your audience, not for you to make yourself feel good. It relaxes you a little bit, but the primary purpose is for your audience. Remember, it should relate to the point that you are trying to present to your audience. So if you're telling this joke and you think it's awesome, but it doesn't relate to your point and your audience isn't going to get it, then the whole rhetorical point of that joke is going to be lost. So keep that in mind. It should relate to the point you're trying to make. Basically, if your audience can't relate to it, odds are they aren't going to get it, and they aren't going to get the argument, that point that you want to make. If they don't get the joke, they're not going to get anything else that goes along with it. It's as simple as that. Next, don't drag your joke out. Keep it brief. Shorter jokes are often what I would consider to be the sweeter jokes. It doesn't give you time to think about the punchline. You just get it out there and then all of a sudden, oh hey, that was really funny. So don't drag your joke out. Remember that sometimes jokes that come out of the blue, the little bit shorter ones, often have the biggest payoff. And the reason behind that is that too much of a build-up can accidentally reveal your punchline. I mean, if you're giving us so much detail and so much build-up, odds are people are going to guess what the punchline is. So when you say it, it's, oh, haha, that's a little funny, but really I saw it coming. So keep that in mind. You don't want to build up so much that you reveal your punchline. You need a strong setup, don't get me wrong. But you don't want to reveal so much that everything just falls apart in the end. Basically, what you have to ask yourself is, will the payoff on the joke be worth the build? Okay? If it's going to be a really, really gut-wrenching killer of a joke, you can have a bigger build-up, okay? But just make sure that the cost of working your way up to this punchline will be worth it in the end. All right? Will the payoff on the joke be worth the build? Next, and I like this one. Don't be a saint or a sinner. We all have heard some really, really awful jokes, just terrible jokes. But we've also heard some jokes that were so bland and so tame, they weren't actually funny. So try to create a balance between terrible jokes and just terrible jokes. Off-color humor, basically, it can either win over your audience or it can turn them off. There's some off-color humor that's really, really, really funny. It can be topical, it can be smart. Yeah, maybe you get a little offended by it, but sometimes being a little offended by something drives home a point that your speaker is really trying to make. The important thing here is to remember to assess your audience. You have to be able to judge your audience and figure out what is actually going to hit home for them in terms of humor. So, will the off-color humor relate to your topic and develop your point? That's what you have to ask yourself, alright? So, basically with don't be a saint or a sinner, keep in mind you have to find a balance. There's a reason that knock-knock jokes are not the most common jokes told. But there's also a reason we say there are too many Helen Keller jokes and dead baby jokes out there, okay? You have to be able to find a point between these types of jokes, alright? Find that happy medium, blend different kinds of jokes together, and you'll have a really overall holistically balanced speech. Don't neglect your delivery. You can have amazing joke content, but do not forget that delivering a joke is the vast majority of that joke's success. Effective joke delivery can, simply put, it will make or break the impact of the joke, okay? If you're trying to tell a joke and you sound shaky and unconfident in it, then you're not going to be able to actually pull it off. It's not going to have the impact that you want it to. You have to be, at the very least, you have to be confident in your joke delivery. What I always tell my forensic students, Figure out a way to tell the joke in a way that you like it. Make that choice and make it confidently. Don't apologize for that choice with your delivery, okay? Even if it falls flat, it's better that you be confident in your choice than to just be wishy-washy in between. That brings me to my second point, though. You should try experimenting with different styles for you. For example, I figured out that big jokes for me, they don't work. A lot of times, I work in much more subtle ways. I am one of the punniest people you will ever meet, okay? I don't do the big laughs. I'm someone who works in a subtler humor style. So you have to figure out what works for you. If you're trying to force something that doesn't work for you, then odds are it's going to come off as odd and it won't be effective joke delivery for you. Humor depends on both your audience assessment of your joke as well as how you personally feel about it, okay? Work to find that balance, and when you find that sweet spot, when you find that balance, it's going to be awesome. Something you should consider. Try running your jokes by a smaller audience first, okay? You may not get the same reaction in a large audience, it's true, but you need to have some kind of testing ground for your jokes, alright? So basically, remember that effective joke delivery is important. Experiment with what works for you, and try it in front of people. That way you'll be able to find that personal and audience balance that you need to have in order to make effective joke delivery. Alright folks, that's my thinking on humor. Remember, this is not in the textbook, it's not from any specific reading. I'm drawing on lots of different resources that I have actually experienced through my time as a student and from my practice as a speaker. Something I want to let you guys in on, though, I do intend to have you guys muse a little bit on humor in your final. So this PowerPoint and the reading associated with it are going to be important. It will be on the final in some capacity. So keep that in mind. Alright folks, you have your assignments, your short speech 5 assignment, as well as the special occasion speech assignment. You have those set up. Now it's time to go out, tell some jokes, have some fun, basically construct your final speech that you can be proud of and that you think really shows off what you can do and what you have learned as a speaker. So, thank you all very much, and I will see you when I get back from Florida.